Midsize sedans are only getting bigger, so it's good to see many automakers hybridizing their family-friendly fleet in order to make sure all that extra space isn't wasting away at gas stations. Hyundai and Toyota have recently unveiled new or refreshed versions of their midsize hybrid sedans, and today, it's Honda's turn with the 2021 Honda Accord Hybrid. Now, I don't blame you if you can't tell that the Accord Hybrid looks any different for 2021, but the changes are there. Visually up front, we have a wider grille that now flows into all LED headlighting that has been boosted a little bit to not only improve the general performance of the headlight, but to help Honda perform better on IIHS headlight testing. Other than that, the radar sensor for the adaptive cruise has been tucked a little lower and better in the bumper, and otherwise, same story as usual. Inside, nothing has really changed visually. It's still rocking the same sensible layout as before, with a floating screen up top and a whole bunch of nooks, crannies, and cubbies down low for storing masks, water bottles, you name it. Given how big midsize sedans have become, it's no surprise that the Accord Hybrid is ultra roomy, with plenty of space for my lanky old frame to splay out on the seats. The trunk is suitably huge too, although it's, well, not like anybody's really going anywhere right now. When it comes to tech though, Honda's making some big moves. All Accord Hybrid trims now come standard with Honda's 8-inch display audio infotainment system, which on EX trims and above includes wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, although you can still use your USB cable through the relocated ports if you want. Charging options abound, with wireless charging now moving down to the EX trim, while 2 new rear USB charging ports are now included on EX as well. For some extra creature comforts, all hybrid models also come with remote start and keyless entry. Now under the hood is a 2-liter Atkinson Cycle 4-cylinder gas engine, which mates to Honda's fancy pants 2-motor hybrid system to produce a net 212 horsepower and 232 pound-feet of torque. Now this system has been refined for 2021 in 2 different ways. They really wanted to kind of improve the linearity of the acceleration, which I definitely feel has happened, in addition to improving throttle response, and all that kind of works together to reduce some of that awkward rubber band feeling you get with certain hybrid powertrains. The result of all this refinement is actually pretty impressive. The gas engine almost imperceptibly transitions to electric power and back and blending between the two. It's really a pretty smooth operator. It lets me have a couple miles of EV-only operation here and there as the battery permits. It never really feels quick per se, even with that electric motor torque, but it is a better performer than the 1.5-liter Accord on paper. The only real issue I find with it is that the gas engine kind of whines at higher RPMs, but you can kind of say that about any car. Now, the ride quality doesn't really beat Toyota's Lexus-like cushion of the Camry Hybrid, but this touring trim tester is pretty darn close. Adaptive dampers come standard on touring models, but sadly only touring models, and I'm not gonna lie, these puppies do a pretty damn good job of soaking up Michigan's nasty roads and returning, well, frankly, very little jostling. Now, you still can feel a hint of chassis rigidity through all that softness, but if you really want to feel that chassis rigidity, hit the little sport button here on the center console and watch the dampers firm up, the throttle response get a little sharper, and all of a sudden you'll be carrying this thing into corners probably a little faster than your passengers would prefer. When it comes time to slow things down, the Accord Hybrid's regenerative brakes are frankly pretty stellar. I can't tell when the friction brakes end and the regeneration begins, and vice versa, making this one of the more natural feeling midsize hybrids I've driven. Now, of course, there is still a problem with it, because I always find a problem, and it's the adjustability of the regen brakes. If you want anything beyond the lightest hint of regen on deceleration, you have to tap this left pedal here on the steering wheel every single time you want to slow down. That's pretty dumb and annoying, right? I would really like to just set it and forget it, but apparently that's not an option. Honda also updated its Honda Sensing suite of active and passive driver aids, which were already excellent but are now even better. The Lane Keep Assist no longer wants to saw its way back to the middle of the lane, making for a far better feeling on the road, to be frank. And when it comes to deceleration with adaptive cruise control, it's a lot smoother too. Now, there is also a new low-speed automatic braking system that covers cases between 1 and 6 miles an hour using the parking sensors, but sadly, nobody I work with was willing to let me test that out on them. Maybe next time. Best of all, nearly every trim of the 2021 Honda Accord Hybrid falls under the average new car transaction price. Base model started around $27,000 including destination, with the EX and EXL trim splitting the difference between that, and my touring tester here is about $37,000 window sticker. And for a mid-size hybrid that's priced like that and offers as much as it does and drives as well as it does, well, sounds like a pretty good recipe for success to me.